guys, we're back to books this week, and three very different types of books for you. Our first one, which Leonard will be delighted, is about Mark Beaumont's attempt to go around the world in 80 days. We spoke about him last week with his documentary, the Americas, but this one, Around the World in 80 Days, an attempt he did a couple of years ago. He actually did it in 78 days. It's a fascinating read. I know I couldn't put it down. You're wondering, will he make the next checkpoint? He had to cover a few hundred kilometres day in, day out, starting at 5 in the morning, finishing 11 o'clock every night. Fully supported, but he was unbelievable what he had to go through, and he had to make certain checkpoints. He wouldn't miss flights, you know, from China or from Australia or from the States back to Europe, and all the trials and tribulations he went through in the likes of Russia, where he broke his teeth and he had to do his own dentistry. So it's Around the World in 80 Days by Mark Beaumont. Great read. Another great one, it's called Lantern Rouge. Okay, it's by Max Leonard. The Lantern Rouge is a prize they give to the rider who finishes last in the Tour de France, the guy who's last on GC, general classification. And over the years, going back in the past, it was a very coveted prize. There was money for it, but also the guy who finished last in the Tour de France, he made a bit of a name for himself, and in the post-tour criterium, so after the Tour de France, there's criteriums all over Brittany, Normandy, in Belgium, and the pros get paid, particularly the ones who did well in the Tour de France, the stage winners or the guys who won a general classification jersey. They get really well paid, and still do, to make an appearance at these criteriums. But the Lantern Rouge would also get a few bob, because it'd be a bit of a novelty for the criterium. So it became a very coveted prize, and this book covers the whole history of the Lantern Rouge and some of the skullduggery that went on for guys to try and finish last, so they could get the prize and stay within the time limits, that they didn't get disqualified out of the tour either. So brilliant read, very funny in places. So the Lantern Rouge. And then our last one for the racing guys, it's A Piper's Tale, okay, by Chris Seibels. Alan Piper was a rider in the 80s, really. He rode with Peugeot originally, kind of around 1980, with Stephen Roach, went on to Panasonic, went on to Tulip, a Dutch team. Very determined rider. It wasn't a huge winner, but he was a great domestique, and had a great long career. Tough as nails, Australian, and back in those days, the likes of Phil Anderson, Alan Piper, Graham Jones, and they had to leave Australia, make their way to Belgium with little or nothing, and try and survive. They had to survive because they couldn't afford to get back to Australia, and then most of them made it and did quite well. But it's tough read. You see some of the stuff, they were living on pittance and literally starving from week to week to try and get a pro contract. So Alan Piper, he's still around. He's manager now of the United Arab Emirates team. He was very sick last year. He had cancer, but thankfully he's in remission, but looking after himself in this COVID-19 era. So Piper's Tale, really interesting read if you're into kind of the background of cycling, how these guys live and how they survived. So next week, hopefully we'll have 3 good other books for you.